Dear Chief Guest, Mr. Yedoritsa, Guest of Honor, Mr. Hatiar, Your Excellencies, guests and enrichees, faculty advisors, press and TV representatives, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. To say the truth, I'm not particularly used to cope with the pressure of approximately 250 pairs of eyes, therefore I ask you for some sympathy. As the Secretary General of the Bratislava Mobile United Nations, it is truly my deepest honor to be the one opening this conference. The only reason I'm standing here today is because somebody, somewhere, approximately 22 years ago, stood up. Stood up in the times of injustice and social persecution. Stood up and had the courage to talk about his ideals. Stood up despite the fact it was so risky. And because that somebody stood up, a few more stood up. Hundreds, thousands, and eventually a few millions stood up. By doing so, these people have managed to alter their, mine, and our future. So in a larger sense, my thanks belongs to all students, all high school students who 22 years ago initiated the liquidation of the totalitarian communist regime. The establishment of this conference is also one of the positive consequences of the Velvet Revolution, and therefore it is a symbolic duty for the conference to take place in November, the month when the revolution began. Organizing Bratmoon is a man-killing job, which I wouldn't be able to accomplish without the really vital help of my colleagues from the organizing team, who literally kept me alive. Our conference also would not be possible without the work of our foreigners, who, since the year 2000, by thorough work, have enabled Bratmoon to become a tradition, rather than a unique event. And because I know that some of them are sitting here, I would like to say my thanks for all that they have done. The aim of our work was to unite high school youth of the Big4 countries, but also many other interested students from other parts of Europe, by monitoring the current situation at an international level, by proposing answers to problems, and by the quest after solutions we discussed. The main theme of this conference is the future of the new Arab democracies. For a long period of time, Arab countries and their leaders were only, let's say, bystanders of the Cold War play, which was stage managed by the big fathers. But a growing confidence and awakening hunger for self-determination brought in a new factor to international politics. Only with the very recent revolutions have these Arab countries figured in our awareness as more than as scenes of adventures, movies, or exotic holidays. Meanwhile, it is interesting to observe how some potentates have taken advantage of this unpleasant situation. Ben Ali, the Tunisian president, has emerged as, in my view, the most forceful. He vanished from Tunisia soon enough, even with an essential amount of his carefully acquired savings, whose relation to the national treasury remains very hazy. Hosni Mubarak, as bitter and inconspicuous as it may seem, has put himself into the role of a ladder parallel. In fact, he lived 24 times longer than the glorious Tutankhamen. And as the most vital in adapting to the changed political circumstances has emerged the colonel and the informal boss of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. Only the future will show us the real and uniting influence he had over a big number of tribal leaders, sheikhs, and heads. The old saying that the one who stands outside will hardly help to solve family problems can be applied to the situation in Afghanistan and Iraq. It may not be difficult for the big powers to militarily defeat their enemies, but the goal of promoting a functional democratic system is very challenging, if not impossible. For what remains, centrifugal and disintegrative forces are not only characteristic to countries which we, with a certain pride in our voice, designate as developing. For example, in Belgium, these forces ensure that the new cabinet has not been created. Consequently, as lovers of politics, we are amazed by the fact that despite the absence of government, there has been no internal breakdown or chaos. With overstatement, we can say that it seems that the king, whose annual donations the life government wanted to decrease, is doing a great job along with the lower bureaucracy. The world economic crisis is not being touched at this event. Although it is being daily discussed by the world leaders, Britain has managed to overcome this crisis, unlike the Eurozone, by the help of its sponsors, especially the Visegrad Fund. I think that all of us are looking forward to the interesting and enriching negotiations of the upcoming days. I hope that our work will contribute to closeness between us and help to overcome antagonisms between nations. Therefore, I wish to our delegates a lot of enthusiasm, strength, and willingness. One of my favorite lines of the New Testament are Christ's words. Veritas liberavi vos. Truth will set you free. So let's lead the following negotiations in a quest after common, to us knowable truth. Thank you. And now I would like to yield the floor to the State Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Slovak Republic, Mr. Milan Ježovica, whose ministry has patronage over this project and for what we are really, really thankful. So,